it was an amazing circumstance where all these wonderful artists I knew came together and just started working together. And we all kind of met, well, at least I met most of them independently of each other.
Got it. Charles, did you have any hesitation in being filmed all access style? Because yes, you've been a public figure for 20 plus years, but it's different to be filmed backstage, of course.
Yeah, I think I'm one of the more the least camera ready. Like I'm a little bit camera shy generally, and when there's somebody's around filming, I tend to sort of like dissolve into the background a little bit. I don't know, it's a little bit self-consciousness, I guess. Um, but Stevie was a good friend, and he was there so much that we kind of got used to him being around, and I could relax a little bit. And I never forgot that he was around. The idea of the fly on the wall. I always could tell that Stevie was behind the plant in the corner filming, but it was because it was Steven. Then we like it just felt. I don't know. It felt like he was documenting something, and that even just that process made it feel like something special was happening. So he actually added to the joy of making the record in a sense, because it's like we're there with our friends doing our thing, but then there's a videographer here who's filming it, so we're like, oh, this better be good.
Sure. Stephen,
Well, it
I'm
worked
not going to
out.
call you, I can't call you Stevie yet. I'm not at that level, so
Okay,
I'll still call you Stephen.
fair
But
enough.
you have an amazing, impressive documentary. I can't talk today, documentarian background. But this is the first music related credit I noticed. Was this the first time that you had tried to work with a band on a documentary?
No, no, well, I've been working on this particular film for, you know, 25 years since I first picked up the camera. And 2007 we put a 2007 2008 we put out a edit, or I cobbled together some money and got an editor, and we and me and my friend Stuart Berman and my partner Andrew Menzies, we sat in my little apartment every Thursday for a year going through all the footage, and we put a cut together. But it was a bit of a strange time, and the band just wasn't it wasn't the right time for that film to come out. So that's not the first time I've made something, but I've done lots of music related projects, lots of art projects and videos and stuff like that. But this is the first documentary that I've made with my footage.
Right. By that I meant you didn't do a Motley Crue documentary or something like that
No, no,
years
no, no,
ago.
no,
This
no.
is your first like wide foray that we really know about as fans
Sure.
of you doing a music doc. So you had been filming all along, as you said, but how does the process of this film, aside from the longevity and the prep and these being friends, compare to one of your more serious oriented still I can't speak today, documentaries about a more serious topic? How does the process compare?
I think most other projects that I work on, documentaries in general,
Yeah.
they're kind of thought about and made real through a more thought out process.
Hmm.
This one wasn't thought out so much as it was we kind of felt our way through it, and we had a mound of footage and tapes, and we just kind of started taking off the bits that we didn't like, and then what was left was, the structure of the film. So it wasn't so much of a film that was made, it was found.
Got it. Charles, a different kind of question, different kind of topic. You could be in four different bands and play four different instruments between those four different bands. So in a way, you can be hard to keep track of. So this film is finally done, it's touring, you're part of some of the press and all that. But what's coming up for you as a musician and a person that's out and about, Charles?
I'm still doing lots of fun music related stuff. I mean, Broken Social Scene is just finishing working on a record. We're doing it with Dave Neufeld, who produced the first two full band records, You Forgot It and People and the self-titled,
Sure.
which are featured heavily in the film. So that's been a big part of my life for the last few months. I've been trying to get this thing in the bag. And then my other band, Do Makes I Think, who have been kind of quiet for a couple of years. I got an invitation to go do a Japan tour, so we're doing that this summer. And then we're adding a Montreal and a Toronto show, which are going to be announced this week. Sorry, it's Stephen, you might want to come. And then I do a bunch of solo art pieces. Like
Hmm.
I'm part of the Sounds from a Safe Harbor Festival in Ireland in September. And yeah, it's more sort of soundscape installation art, or I'm not sure what to call it, but it's not band stuff. So I'm still doing tons of music, still being a dad. This is pretty much my life these days.
Is it fair to call that stuff mixed media art, or do you not like that term?
I think it's a fair term, but it's very ambiguous. So
Being a
it suits
dad is like
suits a
being a
lot of
mixed
things.
media. I can
Stephen,
attest
in
to that.
your case, you're still touring this film. I admire how you're treating it like a tour, where you're playing rock venues and showing it, and then having different people like Kevin part of that. Did you know all along that this film was going to tour like that?
Well, that was always kind of the hope, my deepest hopes, it would be like, a little show that would happen with the band, but there's just like, we ran out of money a long time ago, Darren. So so the touring of the film is wonderful. I'm super happy it's happening, and yes, I was always hoping it would always hit the road and make it to. I feel like the film needs to be seen on a big screen, just so you can bring your community together and your friends together, like a concert. And that's, I've seen it a number of times on a big screen now, and it's always the best that way for me anyway.
Right. Now, Charles, a question. This is in the trailer, so of course it's in the film itself. The part about getting the positive 9+ pitchfork rating. I think Broken Social Scene is one of the only positive pitchfork stories I've ever heard for a band. Do you recall ever hearing another band celebrating a pitchfork review?
Well, I think yeah, there's been a few bands that I think really got a big career kick from Pitchfork. In the early days, it was a big deal. I think Arcade Fire also got a great review for Funeral, and that kickstarted their career as well. There was a few of us who were kind of not radio friendly. This was the time of early internet, basically. So people were discovering new ways to discover music. And Pitchfork was really in those early days, it was a great sort of venue or avenue to discover new interesting things that you couldn't hear on the radio. And that, of course, worked really well for us. It really did kickstart our career. And there are others. I mean, Arcade Fire, maybe Death from Above. There's a few Canadian bands that got some good press and Pitchfork, and that allowed us to tour the States and to tour the world a bit more. And so, yeah, they have a bit of a cynical side sometimes, but
Yes.
they have been very they have been very helpful for a lot of bands.
If you were a ska band, if you were a punk band with choruses, look out from Pitchfork. Stephen, back to you here because I did ask Charles, hey, what's coming up? And we know he's going to be on the road and doing the dad life at the same time. For you, do you know the next 3 projects? Because you are, and this is a compliment, you are a successful multitasker.
Oh, thank you so much. I don't have a firm grasp on the next projects, but there's a few brewing, right? Including, hopefully a Do Makes They Think documentary at some point in time. Um, would love to do a couple personal stories as well,
Hmm.
about my family as far as documentaries go. And, there's always projects to collaborate with other people, which is, how I make a living. So, shooting pictures for other people to help them tell their stories is a pleasure and a privilege. So I'm really lucky to be able to do that and actually support my family doing it. So
So basically, what I'm hearing is I'm talking to two people who are journeymen in their field who eventually made it all work. Would that be fair to say, Stephen?
I'm still trying to make it work, but yeah, it's we're getting through. We're getting through. Everything's great right now, gotta say.
It's it's never over. We're still trying, you know. There's like it's
It's
always a new
definitely
project.
never over. You know, the press release goes out this morning that Leslie is touring with The Who for some shows. So another day, another broken social scene member doing stuff. I think that's the constant right here. So uh,
Wow, thanks for all the updates, guys. I'm
I
like feeling like I've gotten more music, rock and roll information today in these last 10 minutes than I've had in a long
I
time.
I talked to Leslie 3 days ago and she didn't mention this. I'm gonna, I'm gonna call her after this meeting.
yeah, it's I think it's the Jones Beach show. She got the big venues on this. But the last question for both of you, I'll throw it to Stephen first. Stephen, what's the last concert that you went to for fun and not because you were filming it?
Oh boy, great question. Um, I know that I just missed Nils Fromm the other day at Massey Hall. But what was the last show? Charlie, what was the last show you went to? Let me think about that for a second.
I go to shows all the time. I live downtown Toronto. I can walk to a couple of the coolest venues. There's the Transact, which is this tiny little club that has a lot of really experimental music. I went to see John Southworth there. He's sort of a Canadian icon, but nobody really knows about him. Maybe not an icon, but he's sort of a he's got maybe 16 albums. I don't know how many, but he's amazing. And I went to see he's doing this series at the Transac, and I went the other night, and I saw Japanese Breakfast at Massey Hall last week. I really go out all the time. It was funny when I met Steven, we didn't have kids, and we would go out to shows all the time, like constantly going to shows, talking about music.
Yes.
And then we had kids at around the same time, and suddenly we're not going to shows as much anymore, right? We have responsibilities at home, and of course that was the same time when I would be touring. So I would be off touring with the band and then come home and be a dad. And now my kids are older, and I'm rediscovering the city. And there's so much great music. I go out all the time. There's just like the city is alive with great music right now, and it's the best.
I can tell you, I can't tell you the last band that I saw,
Hmm.
but I can tell you the last movie I saw, which was last night, and it
Hmm.
was the Pavements documentary, and it was like going to a show. So there was a little bit of Pavement karaoke beforehand, and it's a wonderful film. If anybody or Pavement fans out there haven't seen it, I highly recommend it. And it's a super cool experimental project that is just so fitting for the band. I can't say enough about it. So that's something for people to check out.
Well, after they see that, they can see the Gary Young documentary and really make it full circle. But
Exactly.
thank you both for your time. Thank you for the great art you put out in the world. I'm looking forward to both of your future projects very soon.
Thanks so much, Darren. This is great.
Yeah. Thanks,
My
Darren. Really
pleasure.
appreciate it.
Paltrow.